Hello. So this is going to be a bit of a different video today because I'm going to be using the Modular and I'm going to show you how you can make some source for that. It's not exactly a tutorial, but I just thought I'd go over it and just show you how I actually make some of the source. Some people have been asking like, oh, how do you process source from the Modular? So yeah, here's how you do it. So I'll give you a quick rundown of the modules that I currently have. But for this video we're going to be using probably just this one here, multi-grain, and probably the filter. So yeah, I'll just go over all the modules. So starting with this one here, this is the filter. It's called supercritical. It's pretty good, just a filter. The next one is piston Honda, which is like an oscillator, and you can like modulate these things. I don't know why it's not turned on. There we go. So yeah, you can do some cool stuff with that. Then beside that we've got, it's called Zadar. It's like the envelope generator. So what I've got set up here is I've got like a MIDI keyboard here, and I tap one of the keys and it sends the trigger. Like this cable goes to the keyboard, the CV out on the keyboard, and then I tap that and it triggers one of these shapes. You can have 4 shapes. I'm only using 3 of them for this thing. I don't really need to use them because there's also an LFO here. But yeah, beside that we've got the Vic X. That's this one here. It's an oscillator with like built-in effects and stuff like that. It's really good. Yeah, I'm not going to use that today. I'm just going to process stuff from the computer, and we're going to put it through multigrain, which is this. It's like a granular sampler type thing, which is quite fiddly to use, but I've got some really good results from it so far. And then we've got the RYK modular algo, and it's like FM8, if that was a synthesizer, and quite awkward to use. Then beside that we've got, it's called Oct, I think that's how you pronounce it, and it's just an LFO. There's 8 LFOs, and there's just this one rate thing that controls the speed of all of them. But they're all just slightly offset from each other. It's very useful just for some quick movement, adding some quick movement to a sound. Then beside that, this one here, we've got Samara 2. Genuinely not a clue how you work that. I don't know what you do with it. I've never had any luck with it, but I'll need to figure it out one day. Then beside that we've got Beats, which is the first granular module that I actually got. But I do think multigrain is a little bit better. Although Beats has a really nice reverb built into it, which I quite like. And it has like an oscillator as well. So it's quite cool. And then you've got Maths, which is like a envelope generator thing, maybe. And then you've got, this is the most important one. It's called Expert Sleepers, or ES8. So this allows me to use ADAT. These are ADAT cables that go into the RME babyface, and I can take 4 inputs, 4 mono outputs into Reaper, or I could also send CV or audio through these 8 inputs here. So I can send sounds into the modular, or I could send like LFOs and envelopes and things like that. So it's pretty useful. But yes, what I'm going to do is, it's a bit of a weird one because I'm going to just use what do you call it, phase plant to make some sounds, and then I'm going to process them in the modular. So I just want to show people, like, just because you've got the modular, you know, it's not like a whole separate entity from the PC and phase plant and all that. They can be used together and you get some really interesting results. So I've just got this little thing here. It's really nothing fancy at all. Literally just a wavetable, some stuff. So it sounds like that. And then what I've done is I've just bounced this down here. And then I'm taking that out of ADAT 3 and 4 so I can plug it into multigrain. So if I change to the phone camera and I play this sound, you can see it lights up on 7 and 8 for some reason. I don't know why that is. with this going to 3 and 4. I think it's some like OBS sim with all the loop back stuff to get ASIO working through OBS. Either way, you can see if I move this cable a little bit, it's going to 7 and 8. So I actually might just move these down. Ugh. I think it's going. No, I think it is going to 3 and 4. I think it's just this loop back thing that I've messed up. Right. So then these two cables here, they go into the input on multigrain. Oh my god. And then what I'm doing here is taking the output from multigrain into the filter. Then that goes to 1 and 2 on the ES8, which goes back into the PC and is recorded through Reaper. So basically what we've got here is all the different sounds. So if I play this one, hold on 1 second. If I hit through, the filter is closed. That's what that sounds like. And if I play it on the PC, it's kind of the same, it's just pitched down a little bit. So we get this. So you just need to record it in, you just hit that blue button there. It was kind of hard to see because of the camera. But there's a blue button there that you hit and then you choose what slot you want it in. There's 8 to choose from, so yeah, quite useful. So yeah, then what I normally do is I record back into Reaper. So we've got the output here. This is the thing we just recorded through Faceplant. And then this is where the audio is coming in. And I've got an effects chain that I normally just put on it. So the effects chain is just like a compressor, OTT, the vocoder, I quite like this, Oxford inflator, de-reverb, de-noise, and a gate as well, because the modular is kind of noisy, especially when it's slammed going through multipass. And then to finish it off, it just goes through elevate with some transient emphasis. So then we get this. And then we can kind of just mess around with some parameters here. The filter's got like a drive thing on it, which adds a bit of saturation. That sounds quite nice. So we'll just mess about with that. Then we've got envelope C. This is a bit of a weird setup I've got, because I've got this cable that splits off into 2, and this goes into C. So when I hit the keyboard, which is here, it triggers this envelope. I don't know if you can actually see it. I guess not, but yeah, we've got the envelope here, which goes to the Z input on multigrain, which basically all you do is you hit one of these buttons here and you can modulate certain parameters. So it's modulating the pitch at the minute, so it sounds like this. And then we can adjust the size and the rate. Stuff like this, and then more drive. And what if we just put the drive all the way up? And then we can change the character of the filter. We can also just change the type completely. And then we've got output B, which is being controlled by So yeah, we can change B, which is the filter. We get things like that, and we can adjust the filter, the envelope. And then we could also use like the LFO here, bring the rate all the way up, put this into the FM input. And that's made it worse, so I don't know why you would do that. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is I will record this one, because I recorded this one here. So let's record this one, that sounds kind of cool. I'll record a sample of this one into the modular. So let's have a look. Cool. So then we choose the slot. So I'm going to put it on this one here. Cool. So we get this. And if we wanted, we could add a little bit of reverb to this. We can change the envelope on the pitch. And then we can offset the start position and the end position with these two here, which you can't see because my hand's blocking it completely, with these two. Cool, so that's that. So that's how I make source using the modular. And then, basically, I just record a library of all these sorts of things. And it doesn't need to be synthesized as you put through the multigrain. It can be pretty much anything. So I put some elephant sounds through it a few weeks ago, and you get this. So yeah, that's my basic process in here for the modular. It is like an expensive thing to get into, but the results are quite good. And you don't really need that many modules to actually get started. I would probably say if you just got the multigrain, the filter, and then something like maths or ZR, just the envelope thing, that's a pretty good start. I might do a video later on going over like the VicX and some of the oscillators and the results you can get from that. Because you don't need to record into the computer then into the multigrain. You can actually just like take the output from the Vic and just record directly into it and get some good results. So once I've done all these recordings in the modular, what I'd normally do is make like a little folder out of all these things. So we've got Eurorack here. So it's all these little zaps and things like that. Then I would make a processed folder here with things like that. So it's just a little bit of compression, a little bit of transient shape and things like that, just to make it sound a little bit bigger. And then I would take it into Radium here. This is Sound Miner, this is the Radium sampler. And then if you do Shift R, you can see you get these little regions here. Then we load this into each of these slots. You can use like all of them, but it gets a bit messy. So these are the regions it's going to play. Probably shouldn't play this one here. I don't know how you get rid of them. That's the only thing. But yeah, then we add emitter 1 retrigger and set that to whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. So we've got like a sub, like kick from the piston Honda. And then we're using the Vic X for some zaps. And then I've got this thing I made a while ago that I'm using for the tail. So as long as these retrigger rates are the same, you'll get something like this. So that's how I would make some like laser gun source. Yeah, and we can also add some effects here. And then we can adjust the mix of all of these things. We might want to bypass the gate, that would be the first thing. And then we can also do things like delay some of the layers. And then we can adjust the release time, so we can have it like really snappy like this. Or we can let through a bit more of the tonal aspect of the sound. Now if you play it too low, it just sounds a little bit weird. We could make this a little bit faster, maybe 12 Hz. So copy all of these, paste these to here. I think you can probably do this in other samplers as well. It's not just SoundMiner. But yeah, this is just the one that I would normally use. I'll bring the tail down. I think that's a little bit too loud. Now we can bypass some of these effects. We probably don't need the de-reverb, de-noise and things like that. We could go a bit more extreme and use unveil, but I don't think this is going to work very well. Yeah, maybe a little bit much for this one. And then the minimal audio stuff's really good. There's one thing I really like, is hybrid filter. I don't know if it'll work on this, but let's just try it. And then we could bring the dry wet down a touch. Maybe not. Fun to try though. It doesn't quite work, but it is a cool plugin and it's worth trying it out. I'll enable multipass. This is just OTT basically. It sounds a little bit messy to me, so maybe this is too much. And I'll bring this down to this. Yeah, so you can see you can get some really interesting results using the modular, using even just the oscillators on the modular. It doesn't need to be like the multigrain sampler thing. But yeah, it's a really useful thing to have. So yeah, I hope this was useful. Cheers. Bye.